Hello, subscribers. This is another weekly relationship reading. And what you're seeing here are cards that have been shuffled and sorted. And each one of these four piles or four stacks of cards, they each have their own unique crystal for you to choose. Okay? So for the week of May 26th, this first one has a garnet. And this is actually for clearing, it's for clearing, getting rid of toxic or negative energy. We have your crystal here, your quartz crystal, and this is used for clearing. Again, it's for clarity, clearing away confusion, clearing away lies. This is my favorite stone. It's an amethyst, and this is actually my birthstone as well. And this I always use when I want to increase the power of my third eye. And sometimes I use it for vivid dreams and astral travel as well. Then finally, we have the obsidian crystal. And this is a very powerful stone as well, because it's more about self-actualization. And it also helps your self-esteem, and it helps you connect to reality. Now, these definitions don't have to mean anything to you in what these crystals do, but before we get started, I would like you to just go ahead and meditate on which one you're going to choose for your relationship reading. Okay? And you will see the little time cues where you can fast forward based on which stack of cards you chose or which crystal you chose. So we're going to get started here with the garnet stone. Okay, so my relationship readings have 7 cards. And so there's always going to be a card in the middle, and then a column of cards for you and a column of cards for your partner. So the first card in the middle, it's an 8 of Cups. Your card, if you're watching this, you have a 4 of Wands. You have an Ace of Swords. And you have a 2 of Cups. For your partner, I have Karma, a Queen of Wands reverse, and a 9 of Wands. So what does this mean? Okay, this 8 of Cups in the middle between you two. This is the card of taking an emotional break. It means also leaving something behind and moving on for your own emotional happiness. And 8 is the number of change. The star, for instance, for some of you who've been watching my videos, the star is a card of hope, and you'll note that there are 8 stars in that particular major arcana card. So the star is about hope and optimism. And those same cards in that major arcana card, they show up here in the 8 of Cups. This is about hope. And you have the moon here, which is also about the subconscious. So what's between you two right now is a crossroads, an emotional crossroads, where the relationship might feel as if it's stalling. It's hitting a rough patch. And so emotionally, maybe you two have pulled away. And there's a reason for that. You have a lot of wands here. And wands represent fire. And fire is the of change. And so when we look here in the past, we have a conflict here. Someone made a decision, an event from the past that came between you two This is the card, not necessarily of arguments. Sometimes it's about competition, but it can also be about inner conflict as well. And so the inner conflict with you have your partner with karma. This is the card of destiny. Decisions that you've made in the past come back around. And so maybe there's some negative relationship patterns happening here in the past. So when we get here to the present, you do have an Ace of Swords, and this is the card of truth and clarity. Okay. Your partner, on the other hand, has a Queen of Wands reversed, very temperamental, sometimes very impatient, angry, bad temper. So some of you might be experiencing this week because of previous baggage or drama, not seeing eye to eye. And so emotionally, as we go into the future, you do have a Two of Cups. And this card can be about a committed relationship, and it can be about true love. And even in some respects, when it's paired with the Lover's card, it can mean a soulmate connection. So you're still very much having strong feelings here with this Two of Cups, but then your partner here is sort of defensive here. And when you look at that card, that's what it means. You see that the things, the wands are behind her. And so the Nine of Wands is about preparing for battle, learning from experience, from the past, the mistakes you've made. But it can also mean that you're on notice here because of certain things that might happen. And so the biggest takeaway that I'm getting for those of you who chose the Garnet stone, the biggest takeaway I'm getting is that your partner is being kind of a little bit of selfish, self-centeredness, angry, temperamental because of this big blow up or minor blow up, but there is a conflict here that is still affecting the relationship. And it's also made your partner kind of it's also made your partner very difficult to communicate with as well. Okay, so I would say this is a crossroads. It doesn't mean anyone's going to break up or anything. This might play out for a lot of you who chose the Garnet stone, but just be aware that emotionally it feels like with all this fire, things need to cool down with the Eight of Cups, and emotionally there seems to be some distance. And just not talking for a while. So this might all blow over, okay, until you two are back on the same page. As I said, this is a crossroads. Many different decisions can be made, many different paths can be taken here. So take that under consideration, and definitely don't panic here, okay? Okay, so guess what? We're going to move on to those of you who picked the crystal. And the same thing, I'm going to pull the middle card, which is a King of Cups. Your card is a Five of Swords, Eight of Wands, and Six of Wands. Your partner's card, King of Wands, Page of Cups, Ace of Wands. Okay, so one of the things that I'm struck by here is this fire, and there was a lot of fire in the people who chose the Garnet stone. So let me explain what's going on with this. This seems to be a coming together. Okay, I have a King of Cups in the middle, and this is this king is associated with ruling. kings are always associated with authority and mastery. They're in control. And they're in control of their emotions. And usually with the King of Cups, it represents a very mature love, a relationship that is on the right path. No one's overly emotional just because this is cups, which represents water, which represents emotions. It doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I'm so in love. Actually, this is what happens when we get past the infatuation stage and we're mature and we kind of see, we're kind of secure in the relationship. We're in control. So this is a good energy to have between two people. In the past, yes, we did have some conflict here. This Five of Swords, it represents losing a battle. Sometimes it can mean rejection or defeat. And maybe your partner with the King of Wands, he's kind of, the King of Wands is very outgoing, very gregarious, friendly, very passionate. But fire can be a very, very quick energy. So some of you in the past with your partners, maybe your partner disappeared, or maybe your partner is sort of demanding. But I do see this Five of Swords, and the first thing I thought of was that there's a little bit of pacing going on, that your partner is going much more quicker than you, and you want to put the brakes on it. As I said, this can be interpreted, there are different, there are different levels on the spectrum this can play out. But I do see you sort of holding your partner at bay here as far as the relationship. Your partner might want to hook up right away. Your partner might be more about the sex and the passion, and you're like, this isn't working for me. And it also can mean wrong time, wrong place as well. Okay. So when we come here to the middle cards, which is going into the present, you do have that Eight of Wands, which is a wonderful card because it can mean traveling. It can mean waiting for something, and what you're waiting for finally happens. It can mean speed, but it kind of means that something is now going to take place very soon and very quickly. And in the meantime, your partner is open with this Page of Cups. Now, remember what I said about a King of Cups, that this is about mature love. This is young love. And so be aware that as far as feelings, your partner might need to still catch up to where you're both with the King of Cups here. Okay? And then finally, you both end up with Wands, which is wonderful because this is the card of victory. So whatever bad timing and issues and distance, some of you actually might be in long distance relationships, this Six of Wands is sort of, and especially since it follows the Eight of Wands, the Six of Wands with your partner's Ace of Wands, which is about new beginnings and a rebirth. And this pairs very well with the Page of Cups as far as relationships. So you've been putting up and waiting and being patient, and it feels as if your partner is finally going to be ready to move on to the next stage, where it feels like the Oracle is saying to you with the Six of Wands that everything is going to finally fall into place as far as the relationship. Okay, so that was for those of you who chose the crystal. Those of you who chose the amethyst, this is your reading. So as usual, I'm going to pull the middle card here. I have Death in reverse, very interesting. In your cards, you have a Nine of Swords. You have the Chariot, and you have a Two of Swords. Your partner has a Seven of Swords, an Ace of Pentacles, and Justice. Lots of swords energy here, even with Justice. Three swords here, major arcana here. The Justice card is about doing the right thing. Sometimes it can mean actual legal issues. And it's interesting with this Death card in reverse because some of you probably know that, you know, it's not always good seeing this card. Some of you might panic, but you shouldn't. Death means closure and endings and new beginnings. When it's reverse, yes, it can mean the ending is delayed. And so that's not necessarily good or bad. It depends on what is being delayed here. You know, if you're thinking, oh, does this mean I won't break up or something, relationship, you know, as far as how you and your partner are going to go on in the future. Yeah, death reverse can mean that an ending is delayed, a breakup is delayed. But it can also mean that the continuation of current problems will still go on. For instance, you might be waiting for someone to get a divorce and the death card is reversed and you're like, oh no, is this still going to go on, still going to go on? And so when I look at this Death card with the two cards in the past, you have that Nine of Swords, drama. And why? Because you have a Seven of Swords with your partner. This can be the card of secrets and lies. And it can also mean being strategic as well. And so maybe your partners were playing some mind games here. Things were a little bit rocky. And then you see the Chariot here, which is the card of moving forward and going past obstacles and being brave and courageous and going to war, a metaphysical war to fight for what you want. And this is an Ace of Pentacles. In relationship readings, I kind of see that as a it's a very physical card because Pentacles are related to Earth, and Pentacles also relate to real life issues, the physical world, even in some respects the sexual world. And so I kind of see a reboot here where you and your partner can meet, talk, and try to resolve issues. But when we get here to the future, more swords here, because this Two of Swords is about making a decision. Sometimes it can mean two people don't see eye to eye and you're divided, and sometimes it can mean an inner conflict. In the meantime, I kind of feel for a lot of you who chose the crystal, who chose the amethyst, that this might actually be about a real legal issue that's going on with your partner. A big decision that they have to make, doing the right thing, having moral clarity. Okay, and so when I look at the future, I'm seeing a relationship that's delayed because you want to move forward, but then a big decision comes up here with Death in reverse, some old baggage, some conflict, some obstacle. For some of you, I kind of feel an old relationship. You have to make a decision. You're waiting for your partner to do the right thing here. Your partner has a big decision to make as far as the relationship and going forward. Okay, so just be aware of that for those of you who chose the amethyst. We're going to our last card, and that's the obsidian. Okay, so when we pull this middle card here, we do have the shadow side, and sometimes in different tarot decks it's called the devil. I have the Emperor. I have Four of Cups for you. So Emperor for you, Four of Cups. The last card is Knight of Cups. For your partner, I have a Queen of Swords reversed, Five of Cups, and then Nine of Cups reversed. Very watery. Okay, so you have four cards with water, and it's interesting how this happens in the present and heading into the future here. Lots of emotions. I almost get, for some of you, with the shadow side in the middle of all this water, I'm getting a little bit of emotional dysfunction. You two, for some of you, a lot of depression, moodiness. Um, and it can even mean some trust issues here. When I go back here to the past, you have the Emperor. The Emperor, of course, is the ruler over all the kings in the tarot deck, but he's also a responsible leader. And whatever he says goes. He can also represent an authority figure. This tells me that some of you are stronger in the relationship than your partner. Your partner has this Queen of Wands reversed. And she's the saddest queen in the deck because she's gone through a lot of things. And when it's reversed, it can mean your partner is very judgmental, even a little bit vindictive, passive aggressive, very hurt, holds grudges. And so some of this dysfunctional behavior that I'm seeing in the shadow side, I'm kind of seeing it coming from your partners here. So when we go to the present, your partner is still a little self-centered. You're like, okay, emotionally, you're like, I'm done. You know, just don't talk to me. So there's a little bit of emotional friction between the two of you that you might be dealing with this week. And then you go from 4, and then your partner goes to 5. And so again, this is self-centered, being focused on things you've lost instead of being grateful for the things you have. Just very depressed and moody and someone pay attention to me, that type of thing. A little bit of emotional selfishness going on here that's come between you two. So when you look at these 3 cards, the shadow side or the energy of the devil has come between you two. And also remember, the shadow side can be about dysfunctional relationships, a negative energy that is controlling you, and you want to get out of those negative influences. So this relationship is kind of going a little dark. And so when we look in the future, I see you with the Knight of Cups here approaching your partner. In the meantime, your partner has this 9 of Cups, and usually this is the card of sociability and happiness and spending times with the ones you love. But some of you, again, I feel like some of you are dealing with a very spoiled, selfish person, and they're not ready to make up, or whatever is going on with this emotional friction. It feels like your partner is going to be spending the week a little mopey and difficult to be with. And I feel like that'll pass. These, you know, this is a weekly reading. It's not setting the tone for the next few months. But I think some of you should just be prepared for some negative relationship patterns, speed bumps, a number of things that can happen in any number of different ways. And so, you know, you will kind of get your centeredness and balance, because the Knight of Cups is about taking action on love. You know, sometimes it can mean someone coming into your life, bringing, you know, making someone who wants to have a relationship with you. So it's clear you want to save the relationship maybe. You will be more secure in your feelings than your partner. So your partner needs to get over it, basically, whatever it is that's holding them back and whatever is making them passive aggressive and difficult to be with emotionally. Your partners might be very moody this week. Okay, so everybody, that was your reading, and if you're interested in getting a relationship reading from me, just go to tarotbyaire.com and you'll see the booking button. My relationship readings are only $15, so check it out. I hope you guys are doing well. Monthly readings, monthly relationship readings are coming up as well after Memorial Day, so stay tuned for that as well. Take care. And as always, I wish you love and light.